As you know, I love to upcycle jeans and turn them into backpacks or bags or other cool projects, but that also means that I always end up with leftover fabric scraps. So today I thought it would be a great idea to show you how to take those smaller pieces and turn them into something unique and different that you can either gift or sell or keep for yourself. Before we dive into the first project, I do want to thank today's partner, Ana Luisa Jewelry. Ana Luisa is a jewelry brand that makes high quality and very affordable jewelry pieces. They have very unique designs and trendy styles, and I've been wearing their pieces for a few days, and with my sensitive skin I have to be very careful with what I use, and so far I can say that their pieces feel very comfortable for me. I'm actually wearing their puffed heart necklace, and if you've been following me for a while, you know that I love anything that's gold and heart shaped when it comes to jewelry. And I'm also wearing their aura bracelet. This bracelet is like a watch strap bracelet, which I thought it was a really cool idea, and I think it elevates any outfit, and it's also super easy to style. Ana Luisa offers free shipping within the United States, and if you are outside the United States, they also offer very affordable prices for international shipping. So if you are interested, I'm gonna leave you with a link in my description box. If you want to get the same jewelry that I have, this is called the LEV puffed heart necklace, and this is the aura bracelet, which is like a watch bracelet. And if anybody is interested in their pieces, make sure you check my link in the description box. All right, now that you know about Ana Luisa Jewelry and their beautiful pieces, let's dive into these upcycling projects. Get all your tools ready, get all your material ready, and let's get started. For the first project, we're making a jewelry pouch, and I'm using a small piece of denim that I cut off some jeans to turn them into shorts. And what I always like to do first is open any seams to make sure that I use as much fabric as possible. Now I'm going to lay out a small pattern that I created. This rectangle measures 12 by 4.5 inches, which is the same as 31 by 11.5 centimeters. Then I went ahead and did the same, but with a piece of cotton fabric. This will be the lining and the interior of the bag, so I was looking for a soft, light fabric, and cotton is always perfect for that. Now I'm going to put these pieces right side with right side together and sew along the edge, leaving an opening at the bottom. That way I can turn this piece inside out later on. The opening is about 1.5 inches or 4 centimeters. You can use pins or clips to secure everything in place, and then use 1/2 inch or 1 centimeter to sew it all around. When you're done, you want to cut all the extra fabric in the corners to have a nicer finish and make it easier to turn it inside out. Just be careful not to cut the seam. Using the opening that we left at the beginning, turn the entire piece inside out carefully and then go ahead and press it with some steam for a nicer finish. Once you do that, do a top stitch all around the edge with your sewing machine. After doing that, you're going to fold this rectangle, leaving the top part a little bit shorter just to allow for a clip or a snap to secure it. Then I top stitch the entire bottom part to create this sort of bag and secure this part where I'll be storing my jewelry. I always like to press everything multiple times. At the top part here, I do recommend pressing it just to really create a breakpoint for the jewelry pouch to have more shape. Now you could stop here and you already have a very simple jewelry bag or organizer, but if you want to personalize it, you could even embroider your initials or the initials of a loved one, or add a clip or snap in here. In my case, I will be using this gold button, which was from an old shirt, and I will also be using a small piece of ribbon. Mine was created out of the same fabric as the lining because I wanted it to all match and be the same tones, but feel free to use other colors or make your own ribbon using different fabric. Then I folded my ribbon in half and top stitched it here at the bottom to then loop it into the button at the front. Here's my puffed heart necklace, and this is the box that it came with. Some of their jewelry already comes with a storage bag or a travel bag. However, this one came in this little box, so it inspired me to create a jewelry pouch to travel with it. This is a great way to add a little something if you're planning on gifting jewelry or something small. It is a small way to reuse and repurpose old material and fabric, and you make a gift even more special. For the next project, we will be making some bows, and for that we will need, of course, some denim fabric scraps and these two measurements. The first one is 4 by 6 inches and the other one is 5 by 8. I'm gonna start by cutting the large one first, and you can make a small pattern with paper or cardboard, or you can trace these measurements directly into your fabric. We will need 2 pieces of each. Once you have the 2 pieces, we will be sewing right sides together and all around, leaving an opening at the bottom of about 1 or 2 inches to turn it inside out. For reference, I'm using about ½ an inch for seam allowance, which is about the same as 1 centimeter. Remove the extra fabric in the corners, and using the opening at the bottom, turn your bow inside out, press it, and put it to the side. I am making 2 different sizes just so you can see the difference, and I wanted to share the measurements I use for different projects, but both bows are sewn the exact same way. Sew right sides together, leave an opening at the bottom, remove the corners, turn it inside out, and press. Once you press them both, prepare a needle and secure the opening by hand with a hidden stitch. For one of the bows, I cut a piece of fabric that was 2 by 3.5 inches, which is the same as 5 by 9 centimeters, and this is going to be folded in half. Then, using about 1/4 of an inch of seam allowance, I closed it long ways. Then used my favorite tool to turn it inside out, and it was a bit hard, but we made it happen. Now, right at the center, gather the fabric and secure it by sewing it and going around it a few times. For this part, I like to use 4 threads on the needle just to make sure everything stays in place. Then fluff it up and make it look nice, and using this piece that we previously worked on, cover the gathering and sew it from the back. You can do it with your sewing machine or just simply by hand. This is the final result of the bows, and for the little one, I decided to use some of the seams and details of a pair of jeans. I think it gives it a very unique and upcycled look. Now, there are so many different ways that you can use the bows. The first one obviously being a hair accessory, so use your favorite hair clips and attach them to the back of the bows. I've used these clips in the past, and you can either super glue them or sew them. I also created a headband a few months ago. I had a trip to Disneyland and I didn't want to spend the money on a new Disney headband, so I thought I'd repurpose some jeans and create my own. I have a separate video with more details. I will link it here and in the description box for you to check it out. Bows make everything and anything cute, so you can also incorporate them into bags and other accessories. Here I wanted to show you how you can use them as decoration on the bags that I make, but feel free to play with the design and the measurements to create your own. For the last project, we're making a coin purse. This is a project that a lot of you have been requesting, so I thought I'll show you the step-by-step to make it. You are going to need the mini coin purse sewing pattern for this project, and this pattern already comes included on the quilted round back sewing pattern in my website. So if you already purchased that pattern, you should already have it, but if you have not yet purchased the pattern, I will leave you a link for you to purchase it separately. You will also need a metal zipper. I like to repurpose jeans zippers, but you have to make sure that the total length of the zipper teeth are exactly 8 inches or 20.5 centimeters. Additionally, you will need one of these clips to attach the coin purse to your favorite bag or backpack, and you will of course need a small piece of denim fabric as well as 2 small pieces of interfacing. These small pieces do not have seam allowance. I used my pattern for reference, and in case you didn't know, the pink part indicates the seam allowance. So as you can see, these pieces do not include it. You will also need fabric for the lining or the interior of the mini bag, and I chose cotton as usual, but use whatever you have at home. We will be using the sewing patterns to cut both the front, back, and base of the coin purse. Now, the first thing that I like to do is to cut the denim fabric carefully with the round pieces, and I will be needing 2 of these. Use clips or sewing pins if you prefer to keep the patterns in place. Now it's time to prep the pieces with the interfacing. This interfacing has a type of glue that bonds to the fabric with heat, so I'm going to press them all and get them ready to start sewing. Another option that you have seen on my videos is using quilting on these mini bags. For that, all you have to do is use a different interfacing. This one is called foam stabilizer and is very easy to find either online or at the craft store. You also want to bond it to the denim using heat and then mark the lines that you want on your piece. Then sew them to create that quilted look and follow the rest of the steps I'll be showing you next. After you have prepared the mini circles and base with the interfacing of your choice, you want to lay the lining on top, wrong sides together, to then top stitch along the edge. We're going to do this with both the circles and the base. Now let's work on the zipper. Grab the base piece and attach it to the end of the zipper, using only 1/4 inch for seam allowance. This can get a little tricky, so I do recommend marking the seam allowance and also switching your pressure foot for one that allows for an easier sewing. Once you have something like this, top stitch the seam and then repeat the same steps on the other end of the zipper. For this side, if it makes it easier, open the zipper, that way you can sew more comfortable. Fold this entire piece in half and mark the center of the base and the center of the zipper by making some tiny cuts like this, and use those for reference to attach them to the front and the back of the mini bag. Pair the center of the zipper to the center of the circle, as well as the center of the base, and use clips or pins to secure them in place. To sew them easier and to release tension on the fabric, I always like to make tiny cuts all throughout the zipper and the base, and this makes it way easier to work with. Make sure these tiny cuts are smaller than 1/4 inch, and then use clips and pins to secure everything in place and sew all the way around with 1/4 inch of seam allowance. Prepare a tiny piece of denim or ribbon or fabric and use it to loop it through the clip I mentioned earlier. Top stitch it to the other circle and then sew it to the rest of the pieces. We're almost done, but to give it a nicer finish, I recommend using this bias, which matches the color of the lining, and then sew it all along the seam to hide the raw edges. Now turn it inside out carefully and you have a new mini coin purse ready to hold your headphones, makeup, jewelry, spare change, or anything you can fit in it. Feel free to give it your own touch and personalize it as much as you need to. Thank you so much for staying all the way to the end of this video. Let me know in the comments which one was your favorite. Was it the jewelry holder, the bows, or this coin pouch? My favorite was definitely the jewelry bag, and it was inspired by today's partner, which is Luisa. Again, this was my favorite project. Let me know in the comments which one was your favorite and why. And thank you Luisa again for partnering with me in today's video. If you guys want to check out their pieces, I'm gonna leave you with the link in the description box for you to shop your favorites. If you do make any of these projects, make sure you tag me on Instagram or my social media. Everything is going to be in the description box. But again, thank you so much for all of you that watch my videos, and thank you so much for staying all the way to the end. I really appreciate you, and I will see you guys on the next one. Bye!